Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. Voice of the Eagle kami, di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiding at tigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan.
Hasn't been too hard on you. What if it has allowed today's episode of Kwentuhang MVP to ease your burdens as you welcome theater organizations Tanghalang Ateneo and Ateneo ENTABLADO. I'm Chris Salas from 3ABEC, and as usual, we are coming to you loud and live from our homes via the Facebook pages of Radio Katipunan 87.9 FM, Ateneo de Manila University, and of course, the Council of Organizations of the Ateneo Manila. You can also stream us via Radio Katipunan's YouTube channel at Radio Katipunan FM. We are also coming in via audio streams at any shoutcast online radio station around the world, so just search for Radio Katipunan. We are also transmitting via the 87.9 FM frequency, so tune in if you are within the 2-kilometer radius of the Ateneo de Manila campus. Alright, so to recap, last week we talked to Frankie from the Performing Arts Cluster of COA and Steph and Tisha from Blue Rep about how the performing arts have been managing during the pandemic. So today, we'll be delving deeper into the theater scene of the Ateneo by featuring Tanghalang Ateneo and Ateneo ENTABLADO, who both have prepared several projects and productions this coming second semester. So first, and without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Nicole, Rafa, Trixie, Pau, and Bea from Tanghalang Ateneo. So what a party! Welcome to Kwentuhang MVP, guys. So,
Hello.
yeah, hi guys.
Hi.
Introduce yourselves to the audience.
Hello, I'm Nicole. I'm the current company manager of Tanghalang Ateneo.
Who next?
Call a friend, Pau.
Next na lang. So hi, I'm Pau Matabang. I am the production manager and post-production coordinator of Password Oedipus Rex.
Hi, I'm Rafa. Rafa Sumilong. I'm one of the technical directors for Password Oedipus Rex.
Hi, I'm Trixia Dela Cruz, and I'm one of the student cast for Password Oedipus Rex.
So, hello, I'm Bea Jose, and I am the Promotions and Publicity Head for Password Oedipus Rex.
All right, nice meeting you guys. So, before we get started with more serious questions. How has the break been for you, and what have you been up to besides work for TA? So we can go in the same order. Pau, Rafa, Trixie, and Bea.
What's a break? Tumatawa silang lahat. Yes, I think that sums it up. You can go, Pau.
Honestly, wala akong break. Pati even during the break, I was working on Oedipus. Pero during the times na nag-break ako, well, I catch up on some anime and some stuff.
That counts as a break.
I just slept and ate. That's all I did for my break.
I watched K-drama and I've been resting down during the break.
Quite similar to what Chua and Pau said. What's a break? The joke. I've been doing org work, like aside from TA, pero on like my downtime, I've been watching a lot of BL series. So that's something that my break has been consumed to.
Well, even the break's full of org work, so you really can't avoid that. But at least you guys get some rest on your spare time. So, for the next question, what's your position in TA and what do you do? Same order again.
As company, everything. Inisip ko kung ano. Yes. I oversee all of the production, special projects, and coordinating offices.
Pau?
Oh, sorry, naglag yung internet ko. But yeah, other than being one of the production managers for Oedipus Rex, I'm actually one of the central board members for our finance officer.
Rafa?
Yeah, aside from being technical director, I also work under the office of the theater manager as technical coordinator.
I'm currently a member for TA and yun nga, I'm a student cast for Oedipus Rex.
I'm also a current member of Tanghalang Ateneo, like Trixie.
So much for your answers, guys. So, for this question naman, what led you to joining Tanghalang Ateneo and to take a position within it? Like, what circumstances or what appealed to you the most?
Back in freshman year, I thought that Tanghalang Ateneo, joining TA meant that it was only acting, and it was only when I actually joined that I realized that there's so much prod work, and actually prod work makes up a bulk of the org. And then I found it really interesting how things were being put together and people were coming together even though everyone had different talents. And seeing the org progress from what it was like 4 years ago until now, and the drastic change from an offline setup to an online setup really makes me, well, it's so nice to see that even in the online setting, theater can still thrive. Yes.
As for me naman, well, alam to ni Chua yung reason kung ba't ako pumasok ng TA. Even before I entered Ateneo, may nakikita na akong pub mats or basically publicity material of ako, yung isa sa mga naging prod ng TA. And ever since then, parang super naging interested ako in TA. As in like, grabe yung level ng production nila. Parang hindi ako sanay sa gano'n na commitment with the stuff, with everything and all. So parang naging promise ko yun sa sarili ko na if I get in Ateneo, matik TA ang first org na sa sign-upan ko. Well, here I am.
Yeah, similar to Pau, I had a friend who was in TA when I was still in high school. And when I went into college, I'm theater arts as in the course. So I just thought, it's natural for me to join the theater org.
For me naman, ever since I was a kid, I heard of TA na kasi my dad used to be part of Tanghalang Ateneo. And yun nga, sabi din ni Pau, na pagka nakapasok ako ng Ateneo, first org talaga is TA. Yeah, it's been really fun.
For me naman, I joined TA in my second year, no, because when I was a freshie, I joined the other theater orgs. But when I watch TA's productions, it's like it's a whole different experience, no. Plus, I had blockmates, I had friends who were part of TA, and after watching Alpha Kappa Omega, dun ako na-convince na parang I need to be a part of this org kasi I like the professionalism, I like the quality of their outputs. Like, that's not to say that the other theater orgs don't also do that, but iba pa rin talaga yung parang kalidad ng TA. So that's why I joined in my second year.
So TA really has an impact not only to current Ateneans but also to incoming Ateneans, no? So with all the productions TA is having, how have you been managing the org workload so far?
Ang ganda ng ngiti ng mga taga-TA. How? Well, our season theme for this year is Season of Adaptation. So I think that's a great word how to put it. We've been adapting since, I mean, we adapt each year because there are always different circumstances to how plays will go when things don't go your way. But especially now that everything, sabi ni Carlo, laughs in online. Yes. Something that we really didn't expect. So it's really a constant adaptation. If this can't work, we have to find another way. And yeah, it's been not gonna lie, it's been difficult, but then with the people that we have, we've been able to power through and we've been able to release outputs, and I'm sure it's the same also for ENTA. Yeah.
As for coping, bold the future joke lang. Well, for me kasi, it wasn't as hard kasi unlike yung others, I focused on EDPOS agad talaga when nag-start yung pre-prod. And then, kumbaga like, I had a job for TA Fest, but hindi ko siya nabigyan ng focus kasi nga, sobrang nagsabay sila. So, siguro yun na yung pinaka-coping ko. Aksidente kong na-ignore yung responsibilities ko for TA Fest. Pero as for the other parts naman nung TA stuff ko, you actually makikita mo na parang kaya mo siya pagsabayin kasi yung job mo isn't too different from your other responsibilities in TA.
At the start of the season, when they announced like the productions that were going to happen, I kind of just dived in head first, no warnings at whatsoever into everything, and then I just kind of like, okay, I'll just try and cope with it as it goes on. And yeah, it's been tough, but it's been pretty fun, I think. Yes.
Same with Rafa na before, yung bago mag-start yung mga production, I really wanted to join the prod. So for Bahay Tanghalan, I became the costumes head, and then nagsabay yung Bahay Tanghalan and Idipo. So medyo nahirapan din akong i-balance yung dalawang work na yun. Pero yeah, I still tried.
For me naman, very similar to everyone else, no. We all took roles for the first production, which is Bahay Tanghalan. So for me naman, talagang overlapping yung work because I was working under promotions and publicity then for Bahay Tanghalan, pero as a deputy. So as a head naman for Password Oedipus Rex, I was thinking, oh no, magkakasabay yung prod calendar. Like, it's literally going to be overlapping. So I really tried, I still am trying actually, to really cope with how it's not going, parang hindi mag-aagaw ng attention for both prods. Kasi they both deserve the love and attention that everyone needs to see, no? So parang it's a bit hard to balance that, pero kinakaya naman siya right now. Yeah.
Like workload is really hard to manage, especially nowadays that we're in an online setting, no? Because everything is just happening at once. But I'm glad that you guys are still able to manage, you know, even if some of you said barely, but like yeah, good naman. So more about TA. could you tell us more about what exactly TA does as an organization or company?
Yes. So Tanghalang Ateneo has been alive for 42 years, and we stage really a variety of productions. We're not limited to one kind. So we've staged classics, we've staged adaptation of classics, we've staged original Filipino written works, and actually our upcoming production, but which will be revealed later, is actually a rap musical. So yeah, TA has been doing a variety of productions. And aside from that, we also have, of course, non-production stuff. So we have, before we had our ball, we have alumni nights and all of that.
So does anybody want to add more? Pau? Or is that good?
Yes.
All right. So
Yun na, actually.
more than one of
Yun na yun.
Okay, thank you so much, Nicole. I was also a theater student myself back in first year. It was my first course in Ateneo, and I've seen that one of the most important, or some of the most important, like aspects of theater is time, dedication, and most of all presence. You really have to be there. You have to be present with fellow actors. So, being the longest running theater company of the Loyola schools, how does TA weave together its classic traditional roots with modernity and ideals of the present? Especially given the landscape of the world now.
I think what TA always does is in whatever production we do, we strive for it to be relevant to our current context. So we don't often stage classics just as they were staged back in the day. But what we do is we adapt it to the current context and put a twist on it. Just like in Password Oedipus Rex, that's why ganun yung title, kasi it's Oedipus Rex, but now it's contextualized in a setting where there's a pandemic, and then like the government is kind of falling apart. So that's what we've been doing, and that's how we keep relevant, and we keep sending messages that are still very timely.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Can you give a spotlight of what some of the annual projects of TA are, or like what annual projects does TA have?
Anyone
Anyone
wants to explain?
like your respective projects, so you can shed more light on them if you want.
Sige. Okay. I'll just begin with TA Fest. So TA Fest, yun yung unang project namin. So, it's student-made productions talaga. So, the directors, writers, and the artistic team were primarily students. And then, these were staged in a way in our website, so tanghalangateneo.com. One production has 3 episodes each, and there are 6 productions, and they cover a variety of topics. So there's, of course, politics, power, mental health, feminism, and all of that. And yun, we pride ourselves on it being student-centric because that's something that we don't often do when it's on-site. And as for our other production...
Well, for Oedipus naman, it's literally like a restaging of a classic, pero wait, words. It's like how would you watch it in a time na hindi pwede yung face-to-face interaction, hindi pwede yung more than 10 people in a room. So how do you stage a production like that? So obviously, one of the main parang naging channels of information during this pandemic was through Zoom. So Oedipus, itong Password Oedipus Rex is kumbaga is just a montage. I wouldn't say, well, okay, for the lack of a better term, montage ng mga Zoom calls with Oedipo, and then all the characters in Oedipus Rex in the classic. Pero yun nga, change to suit yung current situation natin, current, I'd say, political climate na rin. And yeah, basically modernized talaga siya.
Well, that's an interesting take on a classic, no? Like having it adapt to the current world right now. So, is there anything you guys would like to add, pa? Really? All right. So, moving on. Tanghalang Ateneo has been very busy this semester, but the project you're currently undertaking is your online film festival, Bahay Tanghalan. So could you tell us more about it as well as how you dealt with the shift to an online production platform? Um, How would you like to share more about it? Yes, or
Wait, sorry. Nag-freeze din sa akin. So, kaya ngumingiti na lang ako. Ano yung question? Sorry.
oh, sorry. Could you tell us more about Bahay Tanghalan, as well as how you dealt with the shift to an online production platform, like how you guys managed to, adapt to this new system?
Oh, well, yun nga, as I mentioned earlier nga, for me naman kasi, well, I'm part of the finance team, spons team. So, I wouldn't say there was a really big change. Kasi, well, it's still emailing and bumping companies for like partnerships, ganon. But I think yung pinaka naging malaking change was more on for the tech side, which, Rafa, would you like to explain?
So yeah, unlike business, when we shifted to an online platform, all of our standard procedures, protocols, they just completely went out the window. We had to revise and rehaul like most of our major protocols, and it was difficult getting used to it. But as time went on and we started working on more of the productions, people started getting used to it. People started, adapting to the changes that were made. It was difficult at first, like very difficult. But yeah, we were able to do it naman.
Yeah, it has a lot to do talaga with adapting, no? Especially like none of us really prepared for this, but it's great that you guys managed and are getting used to it. Yeah. So, from what I've heard, you guys had your final showings of Tapahoho and 2039 2 weeks ago and last week, respectively. Congratulations, by the way. And your final showing of Bitao's final episode is tonight. Is that correct? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Episode 3 of Bitaw is later. Better watch, guys.
So, how did you go about the production for these shows, and has it been difficult, naman?
I think Rafa can explain it better than me.
Yeah, it was it's definitely new and different because most of our setups are at home, so we don't really go out too often, or we're not advised to go out. So most of the scenes that are shot at home, which means this whole process of getting every set piece, every prop, every costume, everything, every light, all to the actor, and then prescribing them the shots, the takes, and the actors basically have to set up on their own or with help of whoever's at home. It's been pretty difficult, but I imagine it's a lot more difficult on the actors who aren't used to that sort of setup. They have to set up their own lights and set and props and whatever. So yeah, it's been difficult because on tech side we have to coordinate everything going to the actors, while the actors have to find out how to set up the stuff. So yeah, that's usually how it went for most of the productions.
So, in a sense, every actor had their own production at home, no? As like really interesting to think about, like having to do everything by yourself. But yeah, it might have been difficult. But yeah. So, could you tell us, naman, about what Tapahoho 2039 and Bitaw are about? Like just a brief overview of these productions and their stories, and whatnot.
I will go for Tapahoho, but the others can explain the other two later. For Tapahoho, it's like an adaptation of The Emperor's New Clothes. So if you're not familiar with it, basically, the Emperor pretends that so it's something about it's like the people and Emperor pretend that they see something kasi they don't want to of parang nga yung
Oh no, I think Nicole got cut. Hello. So, next question. Hello, Nicole. Are you there? Are you with us?
Are
Oh,
you
I'm
okay?
sorry. All right. So does anybody want to explain naman more or continue on like Nicole's behalf or move on to 2039 and Bitao?
Um, yeah, I'll just give. I'll just try to give a brief overview because I worked on some of them. So yeah. In line with the theme of this year's season, which is adaptation. Um, most of these prods are adaptations of current works. So Tapahoho, like Chua started or Nicole started, is an adaptation of The Emperor's Clothes, which is like power dynamics and whatever. Then 2039 is an adaptation of, if I'm not mistaken, George Orwell's 1984. So basically government monitoring and whatnot. And Bitao is an adaptation of uh, Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, adapted into. So all of these have been adapted into socially and politically relevant contexts. So yeah, they're all very interesting.
Yeah, that is indeed interesting. It's really modern twists to beloved classics. Yeah. So how was the audience's response naman to these Bahay Tanghalan productions? Nicole, maybe?
Okay. I'm back. From the people I've talked to, a lot of us, especially, okay, I'll just go into one of the other productions, Lamon Babae, because the was edited, made it seem like people were really together in a scene. So we had people asking us, oh, did you film together even though the quarantine is still up and stuff like that? And then we told them na, oh, it's all just edited. So it was really nice to get feedback like that they actually na siguro parang the believability of it and parang on the prod side talagang natupad yung gusto mangyari ng directors and stuff like that. As for the other productions as well, because every production has their own distinct style, we received a lot of feedback that yun nga, it was relevant to the times. They really liked the way that it was shot and edited and that it was still immersive despite the medium being used. And some people say, yay, theater is still alive, which is really great. How about the others?
Um, yeah. From what I've seen, most of the reactions are like surprise, wonder, because it's I'm not saying it's the first time online productions have been worked on, but it's more of um it's the first time like an org like TA is like taking that step into online productions, and it looks really good even though we just started. So yeah.
Yeah, I had friends din na nagsabi na parang considering na it was TA's first time doing like a film, medyo film ganun. It was really, really nice and how it was edited, it was really good and smooth. Yeah.
A lot of
Just
people
to add.
actually. Ooh,
Sorry, oh my gosh.
it's okay.
Sige, mega muna.
Okay, so I noticed like a lot of people, especially like yung friends ko talaga na nag-theater or mahilig sa film, they really ask us na parang paano niyo siya nagawa? Like, number one, we're in a pandemic. Number two, everyone's just in their houses. Like, did you guys need to spend a lot, shell out a lot of money for it? Did they even give you like, I don't know, parang compensation or things like that? And I just tell them, we just work with what we have at home. That's literally it. Kung may kinakailangan na i-transport from one place to another, we do it. Pero other than that, everything at home. We like, people shoot from their phones. People shoot from their devices, their laptops. It's literally all done from like the confines of our home. So parang dun sila na-amaze kasi the edited output is something cinematic already to them. Yun. Go, Pau. Sorry.
Okay lang. Ayun, just to add lang yung with naging feedback and stuff. One of our partner organizations actually for TA Fest, nung nakita nila yung mga productions, natuwa sila masyado that they decided to hold their own festival for prods. Like, so may sarili silang version ng TA Fest. Pero, tapos sila rin naman, basically it's inspired by TA Fest talaga. So, based on that na ano na lang, parang you can see na positive naman yung naging feedback, naging ano ng audience with TA Fest. So, yes.
Sorry, I'll just add then that the stuff we did wouldn't be possible without also our partner org, which is LFC. They helped a lot out in editing and putting the stuff together. So yes, couldn't have done TA Fest without them. Go LFC.
Shout out to LFC. It's great that despite the setting, it really brought out the resourcefulness and the ingenuity of organizations and students, and like from based on the audience response, everybody loved it. So it's great. So moving on to our last question, as you've mentioned earlier, Tanghalang Ateneo has another upcoming production called Password Oedipus Rex, a modern-day adaptation of the first play from Sophocles' Oedipus trilogy. So from the title and the poster itself, it already sounds and looks very interesting. So could you tell us more about it?
Yes, we can. Yun nga,
The dancer.
yun nga, as I mentioned earlier nga, although it is yung a very traditional classic, it's like it's been for more than 1,000 years na. It's like it's been here for 1,000 years na. It's amazing kung paano nagawa ni Sir Ron, yung writer-director. It's amazing how nagawa ni Sir Ron ng paraan na it's relevant to both like the political climate natin ngayon, yung situation natin with the pandemic and all, na yung situation nga na parang no face-to-face interactions. Pinaka face-to-face interactions natin is through Zoom. Tapos, basically, kumbaga, it's over 1,000 years old, but it's still relevant. So, ang galing nung pagkagawa nung piece mismo. Kasi parang how do you do that na it's so old and yet we can relate to it. We can relate to the problems ng characters. We can relate to dilemmas. We can relate to the decisions made. Ayun. So that's why for me naman, that's what made me interested to work on the prod.
Thank you so much for that, Pau. So that's pretty much it for our questions for you guys regarding your DA. And we'll be having you again later. So for now, we're moving on to our next segment. So thank you so much again, guys, and see you again in a few minutes. So all right, thank you so much again for sharing these with us, Tanghalang Ateneo. Moving forward, and as mentioned a while ago, we also have invited Ateneo ENTABLADO, more commonly called ENTA, to join us here today. So for our audience information, ENTA is the first and only social-political theater organization in the Ateneo. So just a fun fact for you all, ENTABLADO actually stands for Entertainment para sa Tao, Bayan, Lansangan at Diyos. So this is just one of the many things to know about ENTA. So without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Carlo Oleta, ENTA Coordinator, and Ms. Thea Adzuara, ENTA's Assistant Coordinator for External Relations. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So before we talk about ENTA itself, let's get to know you first. Kindly introduce yourself to the audience. And yeah. Okay, sorry, that's it.
Okay, hello. So I'm Carlo. So I'm Ateneo ENTABLADO's coordinator or president.
Okay, hi. I'm Thea Adzuara and I am the Assistant Coordinator for External Relations of ENTA. Yeah.
Nice meeting you guys. So it's glad to have you here. So tell us more about why you joined ENTA, and more importantly, why did you choose to stay?
Okay, so coming into Ateneo kasi, I didn't really have any plans on like orgs to join. So nung dumating yung rec week or recruitment week, so when I went to MVP roof deck, para lang akong pumunta sa buffet, tas like tumingin lang ako, ano kaya maganda dito? Like, so I just chose orgs, and I chose ENTA because very personally, I'm very interested sa mga socio-political issues happening locally and abroad, and I've always wanted to act and to be part of whether it be theater or film. And so that's why I joined ENTA kasi it had both. And I stayed because I joined the newbie production dati in my freshman year. And that's when I got to know the org more, and that was really ENTA was really the org I invested a lot in. And so with those experiences, sabi ko, sige na, dito na ako magsistay. And so I was really org active in different orgs nung freshman year. Then as time went on, I slowly focused myself dito sa ENTA.
For me, I had 3 specific orgs that I planned on joining. As in, like, prior to Rec Week, I already had 3 orgs in mind. None of them being a theater org, because I wasn't really, like, experienced sa theater. Kaya lang, there was one day sa Rec Week, nakasama ko yung friend ko, who is very into theater. So, we were roaming around until we got approached by a rover from ENTA. So they let us to their booth, ganun. Tapos I wasn't really planning on signing up. But then my friend told me, you know, you're not really gonna lose anything by signing up. So I just did it impulsively. So ayun. Tapos parang very kalad-karin person ako. So tuwing i-message na lang ako na, hey, they have a prod, let's front of house, or like, let's market, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll join. Tapos doon ako na-attach ako sa people. Tapos parang talagang na-experience ko yung what really goes into theater. Like, not just the acting, not just the performance mismo. And I guess that's what I really fell in love with. So that's why I stayed.
Wow, so ENTA really has that way of pulling you in it. So, that's great. What made you decide naman to pursue your respective positions, and what do you do as ENTA's coordinators?
It was actually a very, very difficult decision to make to run for a leadership position in a pandemic. So it took a lot of discernment, and I'm sure agree si Thea and even the officers of a TA, because it's really, especially for theater as an events organization, it's really a difficult decision to make. But for one, mahal ko talaga yung ENTA. Yeah. So like, and I thought na it's worth trying, no, because I want to serve, and I know there are a lot of people who also want to help out and push through with our vision in a new setting. So, with the people in mind and with what I want to give to the org, I still chose to run.
Yeah. Similar to Carlo, it was really hard deciding to run for officer, because if you're friends with someone from theater, you'd know how like taxing it is to always go to rehearsals, always like have to do something, always promote. So I didn't really know if I was ready to like handle so much of that. Tapos nagka-pandemic pa. So it was kind of like thinking na, are we even gonna do something for this season, or do we just stop all org activities or something like that? But at the end of the day, I really had a passion for improving the org, because I saw that it was good, but it could be so much better had we had these kinds of systems, or if we held certain projects differently. So ayun, after talking a lot with the previous like officers, I really decided that I had the capabilities to serve the org, so I did. Yeah.
So you guys made a bold move, talaga, a great move, like pursuing leadership positions in this pandemic, and like hearing it from you guys, it sounds like you're really passionate about it. And yeah, it's like one of the best things about org life, really. It's the passion that drives you to continue working, diba, despite everything. So lastly naman, what do you enjoy most about being a member of ENTA? So you can describe this in one word or in a sentence, or up to you guys. You can talk about it as much as you want.
The atmosphere siguro, like first as in like very adaptive yung people, like kung may set kaming vision for the year. Like, ano ba yung gusto natin mangyari? And ano ba yung gusto natin ma-discuss through our projects, ganun. Doon kami mag-start mag-conceptualize ng mga gagawin, whether it be or internal projects, yung mga ganun, very adaptive. And yung people are very, very at home, yung atmosphere. It's being part of a theater org, it's very important to be creative, with how you think of what to do next. And it's important, and to have a creative mindset, you have to be an atmosphere that's at home, that you can really put your ideas on the table. And that taught me that, and not even just in theater, but off the stage, na-apply ko yung mga natutunan ko sa ENTA even outside the org. So I'm really grateful to ENTA for giving me all those lessons.
For me, it's really about learning from the other members kasi ayun nga, I entered ENTA knowing almost nothing about theater and really not being as socio-politically vocal, I guess. So it really is an honor to work alongside so many people who are so much more educated than I am. So yeah.
So thank you for sharing these with us, guys. So truly, we see how much both of you are really dedicated and committed to ENTA. So I'm sure our audience would love to know more about this org that both of you have come to love. So given that ENTA is a socio-political theater organization, what specific topics do you usually cover in your productions?
Okay, so in choosing a topic, first of all, it has to be relevant, and second, it also has to be timely. So we ask, like, sino ba yung audience natin, and ano ba yung gusto natin iparating? So that comes with a lot of environmental scanning and deep research on the issues that are happening around us. And it really requires a sense of awareness talaga. And so, for example, last year, bago mag-lockdown, yung production namin was Makliing Revista. So, it's about the building of the Chico Dam. So, the government wanted to build dams at indigenous lands. And so, that was very recent. And so, that was our inspiration just to have a response to that just months later. And so that's how we take inspiration. We look at what issues do we want to tackle, ano ba yung scope nun, and we choose our approach in a way that is impactful to the audience that would watch our plays. So yeah.
So it's interesting that ENTA uses theater as a response to the world right now and like everything happening. And that's like one way to shed some light on it. That's great. So speaking of productions, what are some of the annual projects or productions that ENTA offers to the community?
Ayan. So yung pinaka known is of course our major production. So that's what we usually focus on. But this season, we've been trying to revive Imahe Lab, which is our newbie application showcase. So it's really like a training period for our newbies. And then we've always had educational sessions within the org, but we're also trying to invite the public to some of these sessions just so they can also learn from people that we have contacts with. And then we've also been trying to hold more performances to commemorate special holidays and dates. So ayan, we've been trying to be a lot more experimental this season.
So it seems like ENTA has been very active. And speaking of active, we have seen that ENTA has started promoting Dula Tayo ng Daigdig, the org's 38th tagdula, which will feature two plays, Virat Us, Tatralohiyang Hinaing ng Baling ang Pansin sa Atin, and Ang Sistema ni Professor Tuko. So can you tell us more about these plays, what they're about, what issues they shed light on?
Okay, cool. So Virat Us. So there's actually the Vir Us part there's two ways to look at it. So there's virus, which is kind of like a play on the word virus, which is what we're dealing with right now. And then there's veer at us. So it means to look at us. So it's really asking our leaders to look at the place and look at the people and the problems that they're still refusing to acknowledge. So kasi nga, the government really only sees what they want to see, or they only show us what they want us to see. So that's really the goal of Fear It Us, is to shed some light on things that really aren't as talked about. So there are 4 plays in Fear It Us. There's Chip Line, which is about the individual versus the corporation. So it's really about these 3 children trying to acknowledge that they're growing up and that their favorite play area is like turning into this international paid amusement park. So it's really about where are the children or where are the people amidst these situations. There's Malaki na Kainatabel, which is really more on a take on Tokhang and people in death squad. So it really focuses on the individual who are actually doing the killing. So what are their thoughts? What have they gone through to like be in the situation, and what is the kind of guilt that they have to live with? There's China Para Sa, which is more on the individual being associated with the system. So it's about this girl who's trying to make some money to get her husband out of jail, but it's a bit questionable how she earns that money. And then there's Matiraang Matibay, which is really about freedom versus the institution of order. So kailangan ba talagang isuppress ang freedom for the sake of discipline? So it tackles topics such as hazing, infraternities, and the PMA. So yeah, that's Veritas. And then there's ang sistema ni Professor Toko, which is really us talking about the educational system and the edu sector right now. Kasi we all of us have had at least a semester of online learning, and we've taken a lot from how the government has decided to handle this pandemic and how the education sector is kind of suffering for it. So yeah, that's the direction of ang sistema ni Professor Toko.
So wow, that's a lot of you guys have really been busy with your productions, and that's really interesting. So that's something we should watch out for. So how did ENTA naman go about the production of these plays? You know, the org most probably also experienced yet overcome some challenges in doing so given the situation. Like, how did you guys manage it naman?
So yeah, similar to TA, it was really difficult siguro. We're really thankful that our director for Veritas, si Sir Jet, he was part of Virgin Lab Fest 2020. So he had a bit of experience in the online production. So we had a lot of help from him. Siguro there were just a lot of adjustments because we wanted to make sure that the production was within the capabilities of the members. So it took a while for us to really see what worked and what didn't. And we really underestimated siguro how taxing online learning is. So yeah, it was difficult. To siguro agree na rin ako kay Rafa from TA when he said that siguro cast really had a difficult time adjusting because they really had to stare at walls or like corners of the room to adjust. So siguro Carlo can say more about it.
Yeah, I was actually a cast in one of the plays for Veritas, and it was so new, and it was really a lot of emotional what do you call this? A lot of new conventions in my experience of theater. Coming into college theater, I'm new to theater in general, and now our situation asked for us to go beyond ano ba yung normal na sa atin, and I felt that as an actor nung Beer at Us. Kasi kunwari, sobrang tense nung scene. So nag-aaway kami ng scene partner ko. Tapos ang funny lang kasi kung kausap mo lang is pader. is a wall on your left side. And so that means you take the energy na lang from the audio. ng kausap mo, yung mga ganon. So, but then it's so cool how we get to innovate. Ang daming bagong technologies, bagong strategies na na-discover namin during the process lang ng paggawa ng mga productions na to. So, and these are new things unheard of. So, it's so interesting to be part of that experimental process. And I guess that's what keeps us moving forward. It's the adventure and really just enjoying the process talaga of thinking outside the box in our projects. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing these with us, Ateneo ENTABLADO. So given all these, what should these students look forward to the most for Dula Tayo ng Daigdig?
Okay. For this
They are-
sorry. Go. Okay. For this season, you can watch out for our production. So that is Beer at Us, and ang Sistema ni Professor Tuko this semester. And also our non-production projects. This includes workshops and educational sessions on different socio-political issues, and it's a lot of engagement on issues that we wish to impart to the audiences. So we have a lot of projects in store, and they are fun and engaging yet socio-politically integrated activities. So watch out from ENTA.
So you heard it from them, guys. So thank you very, very much to both Tanghalang Ateneo and Ateneo ENTABLADO for joining us here today. Truly, it's heartwarming to see Ateneans pursuing their passions and cultivating their talents while doing something they love, especially nowadays. So, well, before we wrap things up, we have a couple of general questions about theater for our guests. So I'd like to call back TA. Nicole, Rafa, Pau, Bea, and Trixie. Hi, guys. So, now that everyone's here, I have a few questions for you guys regarding theater. So, as in a word, or I guess in one word or in a short phrase, what are some of the most important things that theater can impart to audiences? So we can start with Carla, then Trixie, then the same order as before.
For me, theater can impart truthful storytelling. For me, one of the most important powers ng theater.
Yeah.
Siguro, really, art has power. Your art has power. It can really influence a lot of people.
Nicole?
Theater can really open your eyes to a lot of social realities that we don't often see.
How?
Well, originally I was supposed to say pain, but I guess it suits more yung growth. Kasi pain also goes with growth, but also fun times.
Rafa?
For me, I think theater can communicate perspectives. So, yeah.
Trixie?
Same with Bea na power.
And last but not least, Bea?
For me, theater makes very complex ideas more digestible to an audience that doesn't know anything about the topic. So, yes.
All right, thank you. So, now let's move on to the more financial questions we will be treating as a short game. So all you guys have to do is to answer questions with the first thing that comes to your mind. So pretty much the same mechanics. So, same order again with Carlo, and we end with Bea. Favorite production so far?
Makliing Revista.
Same. Makliing, definitely.
Omega.
You know what, Ede?
Just pick one.
Ito na, pumili na, di ba?
Bitaw.
Ako Oedipus din.
Antigone.
So, what is one word to describe your organization?
Jologs. Sabihin ko sabog, parang pareho lang pala sa ENTA. Wow.
Wow.
Ako na lang. Diverse.
Adaptive. Wow.
Fun.
Sabihin ko sana adaptive. Pero maparaan na lang. Maparaan.
Adapter.
Again, in one word, what's the most fulfilling thing about being in your organization with doing your work?
Sorry, again.
Like, what's the most fulfilling thing about being in your organization or your work?
The testimonies of members by how our projects impact them and from the audiences.
We love one word.
Hashtag.
Ayun. Hashtag call to action.
One word, diba? So, I will follow instructions. People.
Ito naman phrase, di ba? One phrase.
Word nga eh.
Word ba? Okay, the growth na lang ulit.
I'll say learning.
Ako, feedback.
Recognition.
Right, so that's pretty much it. So thank you very, very much, Nicole, Rafa, Trixie, Pau, and Bea from Tanghalang Ateneo, and Carlo and Thea of Ateneo ENTABLADO. So just keep doing what you love. We can't wait to witness what your organizations have to offer for this semester and beyond. So lastly, before we end our episode, you're giving the spotlight to first Tanghalang Ateneo and then to Ateneo ENTABLADO to once again give some final reminders and promotions or anything you would want to share with our audience. So, Carlo and Thea? Yeah, I'm sorry, Nicole. I started.
Oedipus muna.
Okay. Got you. Okay, so Password Oedipus Rex is showing this February 22, 25, and 27. You can buy tickets sa Ticket to Me website. Our ticket prices are 100 and 200 pesos. Pero take note that Ticket to Me has a 50 pesos transaction fee. So you have to pay 150 for ticket lang. And then if you pay 250, you also get a souvenir program that will be emailed to you. So ayun.
We all...
Sorry.
Ayan. Sorry.
Si Bea. Publicity.
Ayun, tama.
So ayun, we will also be having a roundtable discussion with our cast and artistic team next week. So please stay tuned on our social media pages for the official time and date for this roundtable. So you may get to know our cast, especially the non-student cast members of Password Oedipus Rex through that roundtable. So stay tuned for that.
So thank you, Tanghalang Ateneo, Ateneo ENTABLADO.
Okay, so watch out for Entablado's next play, Beer at Us, tetralohiyang hinaing na ibaling ang pansin sa atin. These are it's showing this February to March, and ang Sistema ni Professor Toko, which is our newbie production, projected to come out this May 2021. And follow us on our social media platforms. So that's Ateneo.entablado on Facebook and at Ateneo Entablado on Instagram and Twitter. So thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming to the show. And that was all for fourth Kwentuhang MVP episode for 2021. So can you believe we've made it through the first month of the year? So thank you once again to our guests and of course to our audience who continue to support Kwentuhang MVP. So catch us again next week for more Kwentuhan with our organizations. This is Chris Salas from 3ABEC and this has been Kwentuhang MVP, only on Radio Katipunan 87.9. Thank you, guys.